10 rudest countries. If you had thought that Americans are the rudest people, you'd be wrong. They're not even among the 5 rudest. You'll only be right to the extent the US is on a list of the 10 rudest countries in the world, according to several polls. In a recent poll by the International Business Times that generated more than 1,200 responses, one thing that stands out is that the worst countries to visit aren't necessarily viewed by the visitors as the rudest countries. What you'll see in this video are responses from Skyscanner, one of the leading European travel search sites operating in over 25 languages. The ranking here is based on the percentage of votes from respondents to the poll. 10. Turkey. About 2.15% of the respondents voted Turkey as a rude country. That makes it the 10th on the list of the 10 rudest countries. We try to see if the residents of Ankara or Istanbul are truly rude. What we found is that the problem is with the Turkish manner. In this country, it's impolite to smile at strangers. In fact, it's considered rude. You see the irony of life? Who then is actually rude? A stranger who tries to smile at a Turkish, or Turkish who frowns at such a smile? Please be the judge here. Also, if you come eye to eye in Turkey, simply look the other way, because that's also rude in the country as publicly expressing amorous moments is. 9. Poland. You have to learn Polish, as the working knowledge of this language is crucial. So long as they neither speak Polish nor understand the culture, an average Pole will remain rude to some 2.24% of the respondents to the poll. And you know what? They have some points. In the Polish language, they don't often use the word please unless they're actually begging for a favour or pardon. They don't say thank you unless you've done something quite remarkable for them or on their behalf. No one in Poland cares to ask you, how are you or how are you doing? It's straight to the point when making or receiving calls. Many tourists who expect some pleasantries when they lodge in hotels are pissed off by the Polish terseness. 8. Italy. The next time you visit Italy, please always bear in mind that you should be more flexible because some Italian customs could irritate you. While it's true that not every behaviour considered rude is really unordinary, there are some kinks and quirks which are part of their culture. Italians themselves know that they're not respecters of anyone, and it means nothing to them. However, a bad and rude habit is trying it smart by attempting to overtake a long line of people. While this is frowned upon by even Italians, many people in Italy still practice it, forking out the usual excuse. "Oh, sorry, I am in a hurry." When Italians speak, they often do it loudly. An exciting conversation can be mistaken for screaming by those not used to that. 7. Spain. Spaniards are sometimes castigated for being too loud in public places. Although there are nice cafes and restaurants in the country, 3.15% voted Spain as a rude country only for this conduct. Another rude habit common in Spanish restaurants is sending food back after you've been served. They've taken the rule of customer is always right too far. If someone is polite in Spain, he can say something like, "Hi, the food is delicious, but do you think you could put it under the grill for another 10 minutes? They're also fussy about punctuality. It's considered rude to arrive on time for a party or earlier than half an hour later than you've been told. That is the accepted social norm. Otherwise, you're just seen as jobless or an intruder. 6. The USA. In God's own country, rudeness is not a big deal in as much as you are ready to hail "God bless America" and dare not say God hates rudeness. During vacations, Americans tend to ignore the culture around them. They just care about relaxation, nothing else matters. It's not intentional rudeness, the USA is simply not big on teaching about the culture of other places. They don't study the location and can be nice if they know it. About 3.39% think that the US is rude. 5. China. Rudeness in China is likely due to the enormity of wealth in their land. This is apparent in a movie theatre, for instance. You'll see boys and girls kicking the door and jumbling themselves into their seats. The volume of their noise, pushing, shoving and laughing makes you think that they're rude. This lack of consideration for anyone else watching a movie is common in China. When Chinese people travel abroad, they end up giving their hosts lots of problems because they take other countries their exact behaviour at home. They're the notorious tourists who ignore greetings, acting selfishly in unfriendly, boorish ways. Many tour guides in Europe consider themselves unlucky when they have to take Chinese visitors on tour. No wonder 4.3% voted China as one of the rudest countries. 4. Germany. Germans can be adaptable when in a disadvantaged position. But when you are in their territory, you will agree with 9.93% of the respondents who voted Germany as one of the rudest countries. We know it is one of the worst countries to visit in Europe. They don't mind. Tourism is never the number one industry in the country. If you're coming from the US, you can be too quick to see that German people can be abrasive in public. Conversations with strangers in Germany tend to be quite curt and to the point. If they believe you're standing in their way, they will quietly push you out of their way to get to their destination. If you attempt to start a small talk, you will receive either silence or bizarre bewilderment. 3. The UK. It's impossible not to consider British rude. That stereotype is one of the commonest. Some 10.43% of the people polled counted the UK among the rudest countries. The comments accused people in the UK of coldness and unfriendliness. There are numerous aspects of British lives that people find so cold and unloving. This is not a problem for the Brits themselves, but for foreigners from many other parts of the world, it is baffling as the British appear so guarded. Some who understand them better have tried to explain that rudeness as being overly polite. So when they turn their backs on you instead of striking up or joining a conversation, know that they only want to remain polite. This can only be interpreted as a lack of real personal warmth. 2. Russia. Are Russians truly rude? That is capital yes in the opinion of some 16.56% of the responders. The poll results show that Russia is the second rudest country. Truly, Russians can often seem rude. However, the real mystery is why some people in the former Soviet capital are overtly rude to total strangers. Indeed, the Russians tend to be blunt, and this tendency puzzles foreigners or visitors to Russia who struggle to embrace a culture that not only tolerates but also encourages blatantly direct behaviour. Thus, a question like, "Can't you see that I'm busy?" is taken to be a harmless question if asked by someone in Russia who feels disturbed by a stranger or fellow Russian. Also, don't be offended if you miss your way or get tripped at a public place if you are asked, "Are you blind or what?" 1. France. Finally, we are in the rudest country in the world. Could you ever imagine that trophy would be taken to France? Well, the reality is that France has won the vote as a country where politeness is least valued. As many as 19.29% of the respondents believe that the French people are rude. Hardly would there be a more common stereotype about these people than the one about how rude the French are. Even people who have never met a Frenchman or Frenchwoman or set foot on the country's territory have been warning potential visitors about the rude French. This could be blamed on the French personality that has been widely misunderstood and taken for rudeness. For example, when people from other cultures meet those people from France with smiles, they are disappointed by the French impassive responses. The French do not smile to show courtesy. They smile only when they mean it, and not while talking to a stranger. Also, French smiles are in response to what is truly funny. Are you in any way surprised by this ranking of the rudest countries? Would you readily agree with it? Please let us advance this intriguing conversation in the comment section. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell.